calculate some of these things. So the one I did last night, I don't think was as easy and well presented as I could have done. So I'm gonna try to. It's hard. I usually do this, and you just do it on the mill, and it's just easier to teach. But I'm gonna try to get it across here, and I think I can. So do you guys have any questions first about? You guys were in the lab yesterday, and it sounded like you have a pretty good handle on it. But do you have any questions about the uh, the inventor portion of this? Okay, then here we go. I'm going to use, yeah, good. Jan says, yeah, that was pretty easy. And that's the goal. It should be easy at this point. So let's take a look at this. I'm gonna duplicate one of these. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to duplicate that. There we go. And now I'm on it, and I'm going to get rid of some of this extra stuff. And I'm going to start blank and kind of go over it with you and show it as I'm doing one. And I think it'll be easier to do. And I'll just be able to do that. So here we go. Oh, come on. There it goes. Just going to get that out of the way right now and that out of the way. And I'm going to take this one off for right now. Okay, so here's what the first thing is. One is all calculations are between the center of the tool and wherever your 0 point is, and it doesn't matter where it is. And then we remember that this is always 1/2 the tool diameter. So it's 1/2 the tool diameter from the center of what shows up here to the cutting edge. Okay, so let's just always remember that. That's sort of the thing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to establish the coordinates of the corner, this corner right here. I want to establish the coordinates of that corner, which is really establishing this point, because I can always calculate to that corner from this point. So my goal is to run a very light cut up the part and across the part, and then know what my X and my Y were when I did that. Okay? And that establishes this corner, because then all of my dimensions can come off of the corner and I can figure that out. Okay? I can figure out then how far to come over here, right? Everything I can figure out based on this. And I know how far it is from here to here. Does that make sense? That's the basis of doing this, of doing it all. Okay, then let me get to, oh, that's not the one I want. I want to go back over to here and assign milling dimensions. There's my milling thing. And I'm going to just write down some dimensions on this right now of what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to do my B dimension as 3.500. Not too easy to put it in there. There we go. And then I'm going to, just to make things easy, I'm going to do the same thing up top. And then to make things easy, I'm going to come in, say 0.50 on each of those. just because it's a little bit, they're numbers I can remember. Okay. And so, and I'm going to do the 0.984 here. And 2 times means 2 places. It means that it shows up in 2 places. So it's going to show up here. Hi, Alex. It's going to show up here, and it's going to show up here. That's what the 2 times means. 2 places. And so I'm going to use the 0.984. And that means that my radius is 0.492. There we go. So that gives me enough to go by. And so the for always work from the center of the mill. That's my admonishment. If you can just figure things out from the center of your mill, you'll be okay. And then the first thing that you always do is establish a corner. So I'm going to establish that corner with an upward cut and a sideways cut. And then I'm going to know how far it is to my center point that way and that way in my X and my Y. And I'm going to record those numbers because then I can always go back to those numbers and then figure out where I need to go next. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to come onto here and I'm going to pick my big mill. And this is a fine spot. This is a fine spot to start from. I don't have any problems with that. But what I need to do is come down here and then make a skim cut up here and note my X position when I do my skim cut. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to skim cut across the bottom and I'm going to note my Y position. Okay, and I'm going to do some measurements and things like that. Okay, so I'll do a quick measurement right now. And that's really just there for me. I don't need that right now. Okay, so I'll do my fast travel. I'm in fast travel, so I need to slow it down a little bit here. And I need to move it over, so I'm just barely going to take a skim cut. There. I think that's going to skim cut. Okay, it's hard because this thing isn't really round. It's really not perfect. I think I'll move over just a hair more. There we go. And so now I'm going to take my skim cut. I'm going to turn my power on and run my skim cut. And I should just be barely taking any material off. And I know this takes a little while, but that's the way it really works. If you were milling this by hand, you could probably go a little faster than this. Probably 2 to 2.5 would be a roughing cut, but to get a nice finish, this is about what you would do. So it's moving along. No, it's not the most exciting thing ever, but we're doing it. It is exciting when it's really running and it's and there's chips flying around and you see the milling cutter going around and all sorts of stuff like that. But this gives us a good idea. Okay, so there we go. And I'll put it back on fast travel and move back down. And so now I know if I come back to here, I know that my X1 number is 0.3767. And that's how far it is from here to my tool center when I do a skim cut. Okay, so that's this corner. So I know that this corner from here to here is what? It's 0.3767 plus half of my rate. It's that, there it is right there. 0.3767 plus 0.492. 0.3767 plus 0.492. So my edge is at 0.8687 away from here. So see how I'm just building up a real good picture of where everything is. So now I know where that edge is, and I know where this center is when I made that edge. So my next one is to run it across the bottom and do the same thing. Get my same pieces of information. And then I'll know exactly where that corner is. Okay, so now I need to run down a little ways. Oops, that was too much. Let me. It looks like, am I going to take any off? I might need to move that up just a little bit. And the question is, am I recording? And the answer is yes, I am recording. So I'm going to click here, and then I can move this over with my key, and then I'm just gonna barely there. I know I'll cut now, and I have plenty of room to cut and stuff, so I will be making a cut. So now I'll get it going fast. I'll turn my power on, and I'll run. So now I'm making my second squaring cut. And that's what my machinists called it. They called it a squaring cut, because now these two corners are square within the tolerance of the physical motion of my mill. So we had mill rights at one of the places I worked, almost the highest paid people in the shop. I think they were. And their job was to run around all the mills and lathes and make sure that they were perfect. And we had one mill that was about 45 feet long. And this was back in the late 80s, early 90s. And they would set lasers up on those things and try to get everything running true and square within about 1/10,000th of an inch per foot. We were really into making things square. Big things, too. Okay, so there I go. I've made my cut. I can travel back to here. But this is the important thing. My tool center is minus 1.4024. So now I can figure that one out. Let me write it down here. So my Y1 is minus 1.4024. Whoops, but I'm not doing it. Minus 1.4024. And so the distance to my edge is shorter than that. So I have to add my 0.492. That should have been a minus. Plus 0.492. Minus 0.9104. So this corner is minus 0.9104. it's below this point. But now I know exactly where that corner is. So I'm going to make a duplicate of this now, and I'm going to go try to cut my other edge. I'm going to go try to cut my other edge. So here we go. And I'll delete that one, and I'll duplicate this one. So now, if I've got another circle, I always go to the wrong spot. It's duplicate. And I want it kind of like right there, right? I want to cut that to 3.5. So if I set my X on that right there, then my distance is 0.492 plus 3.5 plus 0.492. So my total distance, 0.3767 plus 0.492 plus 3.5 plus 0.492. If I can set my tool up so the X equals all that, then I'm good. So let's see. 0.3767 plus 0.492 plus 3.5 plus 0.492. Hopefully I typed those on all right. 0.48607. Sorry. 4.8607. 4.8607. You see why machinists were like super good at memorizing things and doing arithmetic and stuff? But every machinist that I have ever known has always had a little calculation book, a little book that they were always jotting down numbers and adding and subtracting things, just like we're doing right here. You know, to mill this, they might have taken 4 or 5 pages and figured it all out and gone. Okay, so I want to be at 4.8607. Let's see if I can get it right. 4.8607. Slow down this fast travel. 4 point 4.8681. And so I'm within about 8 thousandths of an inch. Man, do I try to get any better? Let's go. Click. 8654. And I'm shooting for what? 8607. Man, 86. I'm within 5 thousandths of an inch. I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna say that that's good. Okay, I am ready to cut. And then we'll see if I did. Oh, there we go. We'll see if I did it right. I haven't machined stuff for a long time. You're watching me do it just like raw here. If it comes out wrong, I've really done a goofball thing. I think it's going to be pretty close. Because I'm seeing I'm cutting off about half of the mill, and the mill is 0.9 something. So I think I'm getting pretty close. I need some exciting music in the background. Now, here's a best practice. As soon as you're done with a cut, turn your milling power off so you don't actually. Okay, let's measure. 3.491. I'm 9 thousandths too small. And I see that a lot because the way this thing works is it's not really cutting true. It's cutting little chunks out of this. That's the way the simulator works. It makes everything tiny little boxes and it removes boxes. And each box is about a little over 4 thousandths of an inch. So I'm always kind of like ending up a little too small, but that's okay. That's I'll call that one good. So that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And where you figure it out. So I did good. So I could do the same thing. I could set my mill up here and I could go up. How far would I go up? Let's go ahead and go back. So this one worked. I'm going to turn, I wonder if I can turn this a certain color. Yeah. Cool. It worked. Okay, so that one worked. So let's go back to my base one. And where was it? Here, here. Oh, I did it on the wrong one. There we go. Let's go back to this one and duplicate it. And I could do the same thing to get to the one at top. Okay. Everybody, do you want to see that one, or do you want to go and practice it on your own and try one out, or what do you guys want to do here? What's your preference? You want to see me do a top cut now? Because I can probably do a top cut and one of these cuts before we're done if you're interested. That sound good? Okay, Alex jumped in. Yes, please. Okay, so let's go up and make a top cut and see what we have to do. So, and you should just draw these out one at a time, right? I'm going, okay, I'm visualizing it. That's going to have to sit right there to do it. So what are my numbers going to be like? Okay. Well, from here, my minus 1.4, okay, if I'm set on that spot, then I have to move up 0.94. Sorry, 0.492. I'm going to do it over here. Let me get rid of this so it's not in the way. So I'm gonna write over here. I have to go up that much. Then I have to go up 3.5. And then I have to go up that much. So I'm going to start at minus 1.402. Then I'm going to go up 0.492, up 3.5, up 0.492. So let's see what that turns out to be. I'm going to start at minus 1.4024, and then I'm going to go up plus 0.492, and then up plus 3.5, and then up plus 0.492. So I want to set my Y at 3.0816. 3.0816. Okay. 3. 0.0816. So okay. So everybody see how I did that? I went down to my square corner and I knew where my center was from my square corner. And then I move up half my radius, up, sorry, half the diameter, up, up. I just follow the picture. And I love drawing pictures like this. I think these pictures really work. And in your presentation, you might even want to take snips or pictures of what you did. If you're doing it by hand on a little sketchbook or a piece of paper, take a picture of it and put it in there. It really helps. Okay, so I think I've got it right. Let's see, 3.8016. So my y needs to go to 3.8016. So here we go. I'm going to move slowly. 3.8. Did I get that? Did I say that? 3.0816. 3.0816. I'm going to make it go slow again here. That's pretty close. 3.0821, 3.0816. That's pretty close. So I'm going to, and look, I'm looking at it and it's kind of cutting off the same amount as my last one. So I think I'm feeling pretty good just visually. Okay, power on and cut. No. I need Tristan to put like Danger Zone or something like that from Top Gun, some really cool thing that gets your heart racing. Eye of the Tiger, yeah, that would be a good one. Eye of the Tiger would be great. Something that, well, I don't know. What when I'm really cutting, I'm always very nervous that I'm gonna ruin a part, and so maybe we need like soft, cool, calm music that keeps ourselves calm. But usually in machine shops, I've always heard like loud, blaring, rock and rolly like music. So who knows? Maybe that's just because we always had foremen that loved loud, blaring, rock and rolly music. Okay, I've made my cut. Let's see if I've ruined anything. Immediately put myself in fast travel so I don't ruin my part. Measure. 3.49. Oh, that one got a lot closer. I'm within like 1.5 thousandths of an inch. Woo! Nailed it. Okay. So now we have the last, well, there's two to do, but I'm just going to do one of them. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to my basic one that had my first system, and I'll make a duplicate of it. Move it to the end, and that's the one I'm working on. Okay, so now I need a cutter right here. I need that cutter right there. So let's find our X and our Y position for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to out here, I'm going to move it out here to the X position, and I'm going to cut until it gets to the Y position. And then if I need to, I'll cut backwards like that. So I'm going to cut somewhere up here, and then I'm going to find out my Y position where it's down here. Does that make sense? Everybody following what I'm going to do there? So let me figure out first, what is my X position that I need? So it's going to be from here to here plus this minus this. So if you were to think about it, I'd start with my tool. Let me actually do that. I'd start with my tool right here, and I'd go so that my tool center is here, and then my tool center is here, and then I'd move back half of my tool and then start coming down. So I think that'll work. So what is it? It's 0.867. That's why I took that number. 0.8687 plus 0.5 minus 0.492. Tool center to tool center to tool center back to tool center. Okay. Let's see. So that's going to equal, oh, let me, oh, that's a, yeah. Guess what? So Wasan says, I was almost done. And then I messed up one thing. I wish there was an undo in it. But guess what? When you make a mistake on the real part, there is no undo. So look, what I would do if I were you, and this is perfectly fine, take captures as you go along. Like each time you get something good, take a capture and put those captures in, and then just say, and I messed up on the last one. And that's okay. It's really about doing it. But yeah, it is really hard, man. And you would not believe how many parts I've messed up. Okay, so I need to put on there, where is my calculator? Ah, did I lose it? I can't believe I did that. Okay, let me do it again. 0.8687, 0.8687 plus 0.5 minus 0.492. 0.87. Oh, there it is. I see it. I did have it. 0.8767. 0.8767. So I'm shooting for an X of 0.8767. That's pretty close. 0.87. That's really close. So I'm going to call that good. So I've got that spot right. Now I have to make my target. I have to figure out my target for here. I'm going to do those over here. So I need to get to there. So what is that going to be? If I put myself here, and then I move my center up to here, and then I move my center up to here, and then I move my center up. That's my position. Now, I'm not going to get there that way. I'm already way out here somewhere, and I'm going to move down to that spot, but I need to know that number. I need to know that number right there. So it's minus 1.4024 plus 0.492 plus, 3.5 minus 0.5 is 3 plus 0.42. Okay. So I think I've got that. Okay, so it's going to be that number, 492. This one's going to be 3. And this one's going to be 0.492 again. Okay. Clear. Minus 1.4024 plus 0.492 plus 3 plus 0.492. 2.5816. 2.5816. So that's my target. 2.581, and I'm going to put that over 2.5816. And that's not my dimension. That's my target. So I'm trying to get to that spot. So I'm saying I'm very close here. And this one, I've got to move down quite a bit till I get to 2.5816. I'm not going to go too fast. This is kind of scary now. 2.5816. See, I'm cutting downward I'm going slow. Getting there. 2.5816. I say it over and over and over to myself. 2.5816. Once I get to like 2.6, I'm going to start going even slower. And that doesn't make a very good cut, by the way. Good machinists do much better. 2.5816. I'm going to slow this down. Eight. There. That's pretty close. Now, make it go faster again, or it'll just pull out. So I'm not sure I got that right. It doesn't look right. Looks like it should be a little bit farther, actually. But who knows? that could be pretty close to what it looks like. Okay, and I'm stop my cutting. It is harder than it looks. Yes, Alex, you are absolutely right. Now it's really, if this was on a CNC, it does all of this arithmetic for you because it knows how big it is, and people have essentially programmed these operations in So it kind of knows. Like people have been programming CNCs. Really, I think they started programming them in the 1950s, but certainly in the 60s. And the shop I worked in 1983, probably like in January of 1984, they just it was all manual, and then one day the movers came and took all the machines out and put in all CNC Mazak machines. We still had a couple of big machines that were run by hand, but so there's a lot of programming experience behind this, but it's really good to know how to do this manually to be able to do it. So there I go. There's my capture, and if I were to put this into AutoCAD, I'd be I'd be able to go. I don't think my AutoCAD is working. Maybe it is. Let me see if if my AutoCAD is up and running. I think everything's just finally taken a, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe I can do it. I think I've got a licensing error right now with my Autodesk products. Nope, there it goes. Okay. So I can put it in here and we'll just see how I did. Let's see. I can undo my VMware. Sorry, this will take just a sec. I just like to close everything out when I get it out of the way, when I don't need it. So I can close all that and close the cool Revit one that Rokai built for me. And I can close that, and I don't need to keep any of that. And so I can close that. There we go. So if you're working on VMware, it's just good habit to actually close out when you're done. Okay, so here comes. I have no clue how big to make that because I don't know what scale it's at right now, but we'll go through this whole process again for you. So I'm going to turn off my grids. And I know that across here, it's 3.4910. So I'll make a line that is 3.4910 long. And I'll do the align command, align my object so that, and I'll get as close as I can get. You know, this isn't perfect, but it'll kind of give you an idea. That goes there. That one goes there, and there is no third point. And yes, I want to scale it. There. This is now a 2-scale object. And I can do a measurement. Okay, are you guys ready? Ooh, this is the scary part, right? Linear from this point to, I didn't come out too far off. I'm off by about 19 thousandths of an inch. So some, you know, with all, you know, this error plus this error plus this error in the cut, and who knows, looks like I'm off a little bit on that. I could probably move it in a little bit more. Well, that's actually not too far off, is it? 3/1000 of an inch. Woo! And then let's try this one here. Let's go from where I picked there. That's kind of close. Come on, give me my other dimension. Sometimes it doesn't like to. See, it keeps picking my nodes. Got to get off of those. There we go. So that's not too far off either.